everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Premier League. Game week 4 is coming, and things are going thick and fast. The last game week was not particularly good for many people. I personally did below average, got just 36 points. 43 was the average. I feel robbed by VAR because I lost 4 points on Ben Davies and another possible two bonus. So I feel robbed there. But Shivan, how was your week? What do you make of it?
Yeah, pretty average week in total. I got 44 points, so that's bang average. But uh, Trent did well for me. Ealing did well for me. And I kept playing with the Southampton boys. So Adams and McCarthy kept me a clean sheet and got me an assist. I was tinkering with the wild card late in the week, but I'm happy I didn't go for it because the players who I would have removed ended up scoring some points. So overall, an average game week, but I think my team is well prepared now to enter this week. I think it's going to be a high scoring week before the international break.
Yeah, I agree with you. The same for me. I think DCL got me points. McCarthy, Trent, all these players got me points. And again, Son got injured, so I lost. Like he only played 45 minutes there, so I lost some points there.
Yeah.
But it was okay. I mean, it was always going to happen. There was going to be a week that wouldn't be good. In the United Star League, though, we have a team. The highest point scorer this week was Born to Win, Shashi Iyer, managed by Shashi Arial, if I'm pronouncing that right. 73 points. Jamie Vardy, of course,
Wow.
in his team, in his or her team.
Okay.
17 points. You can't bet against Jamie Vardy. Mason Mount with 12 for him or her. Mane 7, Robertson 10, McCarthy 6. You can see the team on the screen right now. So, of course, you can't bet against Jamie Vardy. The man proves it time and time. So, Sean, getting into this week, what transfers are you thinking of making and how are you looking to take it forward?
So managers this week have plenty of decisions to make because teams we expected to do well aren't doing that well, and teams we didn't expect to do well are doing quite well. So I think the main concern is Chelsea assets because Chelsea have been far from convincing. We saw they drew 3-0, 3 all to West Brom, and like assets like Werner and Reece James and Havertz didn't look convincing because I think Lampard hasn't got his system right yet. He doesn't know what his best team is and what his best formation is. So when Werner played on the wing, then he played up top. So I'm really not sure what to make of Chelsea right now. They don't look convincing. I think they beat Brighton, but they were the second best team, and they lost and drew the next two games. And I think they're really missing creativity of Ziyech and Pulisic. So I think if you have Chelsea assets and if you don't have any other fires to put on your team, maybe look to get them out. I know they have two nice home fixtures, which is Palace and Southampton. But I guess Palace and Southampton will be teams that will set up with a low block, so it'll be hard for Chelsea to score many goals. And without the creativity of Ziyech or Pulisic, I think they'll struggle. So I'm looking to get Werner out this week, and we'll talk later which player I'm looking to get in. But if I would remove Werner this week because I don't think he's looking that convincing, and he's a very streaky player. So right now it's not the time to get him.
Yeah, I just have one alternate opinion on this that after this, there's the international break. So there is a
Yeah.
14-day gap where the likes of Ziyech will come back, where Havertz is probably more in tune with the team, and then you Chelsea might look like a different team. So maybe that happens, and maybe you just want to hold on to your Timo Werner for one more week and then see what happens. Because I think the only Chelsea has, I don't think a lot of people own Kai Havertz. I think his ownership is less than 5-6%. But Werner is
Yeah.
yet quite high. His price has fallen by 0.1, but it might make sense maybe to just try him out for one week because he has got that one goal in the cup against Spurs. So he's got the monkey off his back of getting a goal for Chelsea. So you never know what happens. But let's get a little bit into the game. Shavan's already mentioned Chelsea versus Palace. Palace have played surprisingly well. So that is quite interesting. Would you bring in a Wilfried Zaha or an Ezri Eze or a Jordan Ayew?
I always feel that Wilfred Zaha is a player who looks good, but in terms of FPL assets, he's not been that convincing. So last season he didn't have the greatest season, but I think now with Eze coming in with Batshuayi and with Ayu, it takes off the load of Zaha. Right now, Palace's fixture after this one, they have a really great run of fixture. I think 10 game weeks without any like big six opposition. So maybe look at Zaha after this week, but right now I wouldn't consider Zaha. I would consider Mitchell if you don't have him, or Patrick Van Aanholt if he comes back fit. Patrick Van Aanholt might be on penalties if Milivojevic is not on the pitch. We never know. So that's someone you can consider. But apart from that, no one from Palace for me right now.
Okay, let's move on. Everton is looking like a completely changed outfit.
Yeah,
In fact, if they win their next game, it'll be the best start to their season since 1864 or something. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin, another hat trick in midweek. He's
yeah.
just on fire.
Yeah, so the player I removed for Werner is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's looking like the best player in England right now. He's got 2 hat-tricks already, and I think Everton under Carlo Ancelotti they've just like completely reinvigorated the team. I think in the restart period they didn't look that great, but I think they weren't really focused and committed. But now we can see how well they're playing, and I think it all runs through James. So I think even a double up right now of Everton assets will make good sense. So I have James and Dominic Calvert-Lewin right now, and DCL has the highest non-penalty expected goals this season and the most shots in the box. And Richarlison has the second most shots in the box. So Everton assets, I think you must have at least one, if not two of them. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think, is a must-have because he's the most value player in FPL right now. At only 7.4, he's going to get you a goal a game right now. So definitely he's one you should be looking to get into your side.
Right. And Brighton, I think we've said it time and again, Tariq Lamptey looks like a great option. Neil Maupay is really stepping up. If you look at the FPL statistics, he's, I think, third on form, very high on influence with Brighton. He's getting the goals in. He's involved in all sorts of controversy as well. But Neil Maupay is definitely stepping up. And Brighton Brighton look like they're scoring a lot of goals. They've got a goal, I think, in every game they've played till now. And
Yeah.
yeah, go on.
Brighton were the better side on all three of their games. They lost to Chelsea United, but they were the better team in both
Yeah.
of their games. Against United, they could have scored 5, I think, maybe even more than that.
Easily.
So I think even Leandro Trossard, he's playing up front and he's like looking very influential. So at 6 million in midfield, he's an option you can consider. Not right now, but I think another 2-3 game weeks after a bigger run, if you think you're convinced by Brighton, I definitely consider Leandro Trossard.
Right. Let's move on to the game that I think is going to be the most high-scoring game of the weekend, which is Leeds versus Man City. Man City have lost their last game, and if FPL managers know anything, if this is anything to go by from last season, this means that Leeds are going to get thumped in the next game, and you probably want to have Man City players. So, what is your take, Shivan, on this game, and who are you going for?
I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. The only bone of contention is that City don't have a striker, so that might affect how they play. But the way Leeds play, they're so attacking and they leave so much space in behind. I think it'll be a good game for City assets, especially De Bruyne, Sterling, Foden, all that. So I'm looking into captain for De Bruyne this week because I think it'll be a great asset, great week for City, especially attacking. And even defensively, I think Leeds aren't looking that great from an attacking point of view. So I'm banking on a City clean sheet as well this game week.
Right. So I have I had Son in my team this week, so I have to take him out because it looks like he's out for a while. So I'm flirting with the idea of bringing in either Foden or Mahrez. I'm not sure which one I'll bring in. Mahrez played 90 minutes in the cup, so I'm leaning towards Phil Foden right now. So I think I'll get Foden in. And like Shivan, he's the captain De Bruyne. I don't have De Bruyne. I have Sterling in my team, so I'm going to captain Sterling. So I think, as we said, every time City lost last season, that was great for FPL managers for the next game week because they absolutely went and routed the other team in the game after that. So that is one fixture to watch out for. Of course, Leeds players, Cleach is on penalties. He seems to be scoring quite a few goals. Bamford is involved in almost everything Leeds does going forward. Ayling and Stuart Dallas are other defensive options that you can consider. Not for this game for sure, but maybe if you want to bring them in, if you have a transfer free and you want to bring someone in, maybe you can consider these defenders. But Bamford and Cleach look like the most sort of productive attacking players for Leeds. Moving on to the Newcastle-Burnley game, I don't think there's much to talk about here apart from the fact that Burnley defenders are not doing as well as we thought.
It's a 0-0 game written all over it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's much to talk about this. Callum Wilson might sneak in a goal or Carroll or someone, but if I had more than one Burnley defender, I'd be worried. I'd be willing to take them out right now because their defense is not looking that solid, and Nick Pope is definitely not being the 5 point worth that price bracket.
They're missing Ben Mee and Tarkowski right now, so once they come back, then they look better. But with Dunn and Long as the centre backs, I don't think Burnley are looking the Burnley of old right now. We'll wait for 3-4 weeks. They'll get back to their usual self, I'm sure.
Right. This is an interesting game. Leicester versus West Ham. Jamie Vardy,
Yeah.
75% chance of starting. On all likeliness, he is going to start because he's going to get 2 weeks off after this anyway. But what do you make of this? Do you get Vardy in? Do you take a -4 to get Jamie Vardy in?
I wouldn't get Jamie Vardy in because Jamie Vardy has only had 5 shots in the box this season and 4 of them have been penalties. So Jamie Vardy, although he's scored goals, 4 of them have been penalties and 1 non-penalty goal. So I think he's been quite lucky this season. But yeah, he's in form, and Jamie Vardy is so streaky that he can go on. He can get another hat trick. He can get another brace against West Ham, and you won't be surprised. But the two Leicester players that I am looking at is Castagna in defense and Harvey Barnes. So Castagna's had a attacking return in all 3 games, and he's looked really attacking.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be first choice even if when Pereira comes, he'll move to the left. And
Yeah.
the likes of I think even Barnes looked great, and he started 2 games in a row. So I think Leicester have 2 home games in a row. They have West Ham and Aston Villa, I think. So it's a nice time to get a Leicester asset right now for those 2 home fixtures. For West Ham, I think West Ham looked great against Wolves. Who expect them to win 4-0? But Bowen got 2 goals, and I think Antonio again had many chances to score. And even Thomas Susek at 5 million, he got in the box and he almost had a goal. It was Jimenez's own goal after that. But he's had many attempts on goal. So it looks like the best budget enabler, Marouane Fellaini, reincarnated in West Ham. So he's definitely a budget option you should look at.
Right. I agree with all the points you've made there. I just disagree with Jamie Vardy because I'm not going to get him in my team, but he is that kind of player who needs one chance to get a goal, and he's doing that. I don't expect them to continue to win these many penalties, but you never know with the new VAR rules. Penalties becoming almost a thing that is going to happen in every game. 21 penalties, I think, across 25 games in the Premier League so far. So it's almost a joke now. The next fixtures I want to talk about, I'm going to ask you about 2 of them together, is Southampton and West Brom and Wolves and Fulham. So, of course, here is the main talk is about the talisman here, Ings and Jimenez. Both captaincy choices for you this week?
Yeah, they both are differential captaincy choices. The only thing I'd say is Jimenez and Ings tend to score only 1 goal a game. I think Ings scored only 2 goals twice last season, and Jimenez scored 2 goals only once last season. So they have a ceiling of, say, 9 to 10 points. They won't get you 13 or 17 points like a Vardy or Salah or Sterling or De Bruyne will. But you tend to bank on them to get those 10 pointers. So the West Brom and Fulham are probably the 2 worst defenses in the league this season. So definitely they are captaincy options. They're differential captaincy options. Most people won't captain them. But if you don't want to go for the safe pick, I think you definitely look at Jimenez or Ings. And if you don't have them in your team, definitely look to get them in your team. So I say a Werner to Jimenez transfer this week makes a lot of sense because Jimenez has a great fixture, and we're not really convinced by Werner yet. So that's something people can consider.
I for one, would have done that if Son wouldn't have had the injury. But I'm not willing to take a -4 on Jimenez for the exact reason that Shivan mentioned, that it's very unlikely that he's going to get 2 goals. And so if he has to do well, he has to at least get 2 goals for me to make the -4 worth it. So it's very unlikely that's going to happen. So I'm staying away from that. But Shivan's covered what I'd have said anyway. So let's move on to another set of games, Arsenal and Sheffield. Sheffield have said in all the previews we've had that they're going to get relegated this season. So they look on course for that. Would you gamble on bringing Aubameyang back for this game? Or Liverpool are just too good against Villa and you just keep the likes of Salah and De Bruyne and not think of Aubameyang?
For those of you who held Aubameyang for this week, that's a great captaincy option, I think, because Sheffield aren't looking great, and having Aubameyang is a great differential this week. But I wouldn't get him in because after this, Arsenal have a tough run of fixtures. They have City away, they have United away, they have Tottenham away, they have Leeds away. So I keep Aubameyang out of your team just for this week. Don't do a 1 week punt on him. But if you have him in your team, definitely captain him. Even someone like a Tierney or like a Willian or Lacazette, who's actually scored 3 goals in 3 games despite having that blunder, the one-on-one blunder against Alisson. I think these are great differential options for this week. If you have them in your team, might want to look to bring them in for a 1 week punt if you're wildcarding next week in the international break. But otherwise, I don't think Arsenal will score more than 2-3 goals this game. But it's a great fixture for Aubameyang for sure.
Right. And finally, we come to probably the best fixture of the week in terms of football, but not so much in terms of FPL. Manchester
Yeah.
United take on Tottenham Hotspur. Would you bring in a Harry Kane? You have to take Son out, like we've already said. The options are, of course, there's nowhere near his price range really. So you can go for a Mount, you can go for a Podence, you can go for either a Mahrez or a Foden, like I have done, or you can go to a Marcus Rashford if you have a point 0.5 in the bank. So how do you look at this fixture? Do you see Bruno as a potential captaincy option? He did return 12 points last week.
So I think this got some heat of this fixture with the recent Oli and Mourinho mumblings in the media. But I think this has a boring game written all over it. This is the type of fixture which the hype doesn't live up to the expectation in the actual game. Mourinho will come and set up really defensively. I expect him to have actually three at the back. He won't really look to attack United. I expect it to be a low scoring game, around 2-1 or 2-0 to United, in my opinion. So I don't think you should look to captain someone in this game because it's not going to be the biggest goal fest. But I'm looking at Harry Kane very prominently because he's created the most big chances for anyone in the league this season. And he actually had 2-3 great chances to score against Newcastle and he didn't score. And he hasn't had a penalty this season. So Harry Kane actually is looking like one of the best options and he's only 10.5. That sounds like a lot, but Harry Kane has never been less than 10.5 in the last 3 seasons. So he's definitely one player in the next 3-4 games you can consider getting in. But otherwise, from United assets, I'm not really convinced yet. Bruno scored 12 points, but it was very jammy. Like that Rashford goal was all Rashford, and that it was a penalty. So I'm still cold on United assets right now because United aren't looking really They haven't gelled as a team yet, and we never know. 6 days left in the transfer window, what can happen? So anything can happen. If they get Dembele or Sancho, then that shakes up things more. So I'm
Right.
really need to wait and watch.
Right. I kind of agree with everything you've said. I think Harry Kane is looking as sharp as he's ever looked. And
Yeah.
it's just about time and he starts banging these goals in with the likes of Vardy, Calvert-Lewin, Son getting hat tricks. Harry Kane is one player that is definitely due a hat trick. So, yeah, I think that Shivan has covered a lot of points today, which are very interesting. We've gone through a lot of differential players today, which you all should watch out for. The captaincy picks, Shivan has gone with Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah as the best options with
Yeah.
Jimenez and Danny Ings as differentials. And in my view, I've gone for another differential in Raheem Sterling because his ownership is only 6% and he's looking fantastic. So that's about it, guys, from us. Stay tuned in the international break. We're going to bring you all a wildcard team that you all can start with after football is back. Some of the best differentials from this season up till now. Some of the players you all must have. So stay tuned for all of that content. Join the United Star Mini League if you haven't done it yet. It's heating up. KU's 11 has gone back to number 1 spot from Giants Bane, and I'm yet stuck at 3. So it's heating up. Things are getting really it's getting building up nicely to a good FPL season again. And this week we expect to be another high scoring points. So let's see what happens. Thanks, Shivan, for joining us. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel and stay tuned.